Avetorian here with a 3v3 Deserts of Kharak cast, but first some comments about the game. I enjoyed Kharak's multiplayer, but ended up quitting in frustration due to a bug that regularly causes multiplayer games to crash. This bug has remained unpatched for over a year now, as Gearbox and BBI looked to have abandoned the game. However, it looks like a patch might be coming sometime soon, which would hopefully fix the multiplayer DLC crashing bug. Now, there have been no announcements from Gearbox or BBI, nor have I heard any back-channel chatter regarding a patch. But I think it's a possibility because there has been recent Steam Depot activity after nothing for over a year. Hopefully it's not just an intern's mistake. This is a 3v3 on Kalash Valley. On this side is Masque of the Red Death playing as the Coalition, and we'll be watching this replay mostly from her perspective, joined by Rewerend, who is also playing as the Coalition, and BBI Iain, the community manager, also playing as the Coalition, and then they will be facing off on the opposite side, the team of Avetorian as the Gaalsien, CheetahsNeverWin also as Gaalsien, and yours truly as a Gaalsien, so we do have some nice faction war going on for you today. We can look at the map. We can see that both players are right across each other in this little valley, flanking on either side is some canyons up here with an area that you can go up on either side. There are some expansion resourcing units out in the center that everyone can go for, and then the 3 artifacts right in the middle. And we can see that the standard opening builds are happening, LAVs being researched by most of the Coalition players, and then sand skimmers being researched by most of the Gaalsien players. And we do have in the middle some Gaalsiens production cruisers moving out, and they will be moving out over here along with the base runners toward these artifacts here in the middle. If you capture 7 artifacts in this game, you will win. We have the base runners from the Coalition moving out as well. Looks like BBI Iain is already going for a slightly greedy opening, building a couple extra salvagers, moving over and collecting these RUs. And CheetahsNeverWin coming in here with some sand skimmers, attacking the base runner of, let's see, who is that? Masque of the Red Death. This base runner probably doesn't have a chance, especially with the sand skimmers from myself joining in. We do have some turrets being deployed over here just to give a little bit of protection for that base runner perhaps, but it's going to go down. We do have a bunch of LAVs from the Coalition forces coming in, and then this turret, quite dangerous against light craft like these sand skimmers. So this turret over here is pretty much going to make sure that all the Gaalsien forces will have to retreat, but not before CheetahsNeverWin comes up with a artifact of their own. We do have a bunch of light attack vehicles versus sand skimmers going on right here. This is about going to be a even fight. Well, we do have coming over here from the right hand side, Avetorian coming in with a bunch of sand skimmers, so a nice sand skimmer rush by the Gaalsien players right now, just trying to keep this base runner alive to get to the artifact drop-off zone over here, and it looks like that might be able to happen, but there is a lot of LAVs from the Coalition players streaming in over here, so it's anyone's guess whether this base runner will make it. And we do have a second base runner picked up by yours truly over here, and it looks like the first one will make it, giving the Gaalsien forces a one artifact advantage, which does allow you to upgrade the power on your carrier, which allows you to, you know, put more weapons or things like that. Still some more skirmishing going on here between the LAVs and scan skimmers of the Gaalsien and Coalition forces, and there is a heavy railgun over here making to the field from Avetorian, so we do have rail research there, and it looks like I'm going to take my base runner away, not wanting to move into this large light attack vehicle force. You have an armored assault vehicle from the Coalition being engaged by this heavy railgun, so that's going to die pretty quickly. No smoke used to save it. And those turrets still just giving some issues to the Gaalsien players. Let's check and see what the tech's going on. We do have rails coming from Masque of the Red Death. Nothing yet from Rewerend, and looks like
moving into escort formation. Copy. We're on the way.
What has Iain researched yet? Both the LAVs, the assaults, and rails over here for the Gaalsien. We do have railguns coming from myself. Railguns are coming out for CheetahsNeverWin, and rails have already been researched along with the assault ships. No, assault ships are just ready to go. Anyway, so the Coalition forces have driven away the Gaalsien forces from the artifact drop-off zone. So we do have a nice mixed force between the Gaalsiens here with some assault ships, sand skimmers, and heavy railguns. The assault ships are the tank units. They will beat the sand skimmers or LAVs, and then the heavy railguns will beat the armored assault or assault ships while losing to the light attack vehicles. So some nice little bit of rock, paper, scissors going on here. Let's reorient ourselves from the Coalition perspective and get a little bit of a bird's eye view of the battlefield. Everybody's falling back and looking to go for some of the secondary resourcing. We do have CheetahsNeverWin going for their natural. Looks like Avetorian is also moving out that way with a production cruiser. And then
authentication pending.
BBI Iain's already mining over here with 2. Masque is going into her second. And then looks like, not sure. Yeah, long distance mining here for Rewerend. We do have a little bit of skirmishing going on in the middle. Some scans, sand skimmers versus LAVs. The LAVs will be cleaned up by this larger force of sand skimmers. Right now, I'm attempting to get my larger units to go up this cliff, and I forgot that those units won't be able to go up. Either that or the pathing is pretty terrible because they keep on trying to go this way. So that's what's going on over here. And we do have some movement up in the center by Rewerend. Going to come into these heavy railguns, and that's not something the armored assaults want. Battle the armored assaults want to take. These sand skimmers will be a little bit of sacrificial for the heavy railguns from CheetahsNeverWin and Avetorian. They're going to fall back, killing a few sand skimmers in the process. This probe doing pretty good work as far as scouting goes on. The Coalition have taken another artifact off of that armored assault push, but the Gaalsien are still up 1 so far in this match.
Railgun online.
Eyes open out there.
What is going on from a tech perspective? Iain has gotten everything except for the fighters, and then the battle. Let's see, looks like they did get the artillery.
Make ready.
Unless it's hitting behind the assault cruiser. I don't remember the tech tree off the top of my head, unfortunately. We do have an engagement over here between the coalition armored assault vehicles, and once again the heavy rail guns. Very good smoke screens here from Rewerend, allowing him to retreat his forces intact, but this is going to be quite difficult to get this base runner over here to the extraction zone, as Avetorian does have quite the force of heavy rail guns here, and they have a clean line of sight on anything that's coming this way. So we do have this nice large force of Gaalsien moving into the center, lots of heavy railguns and assault ships preparing to do battle with the railgun forces over here. And then CheetahsNeverWin, the carrier, is moving up just for some extra support. Some missile ships out from the Gaalsiens just in case the coalition decides to move air. And then I'm playing around with my heavy railguns behind this hill, letting the coalition know that they exist, and not allowing them to move up. Move this, and we do have some. What do we have going on here? Some air coming out, but they're going to run into this missile ship. Where did the missile ship go? Yeah, there we go. The strike fighters are falling down, but they will still do some decent damage to these heavy rails, but those missile ships will wipe them completely out. The heavy railguns and armored assaults from my forces have kept them off, but we do have Masque of the Red Death moving to the opposite side, trying to get in on the my eco over here. Unfortunately, her forces are not big enough, so once I do crest the hill, I should be able to hold this assault. Yeah, this isn't really going anywhere. Let's check over on the other side. This carrier being used to good effect, and pardon me as I'm getting used to casting with these camera controls.
Enemy salvager destroyed.
These heavy railguns in good position behind the hill where they cannot be shot by the other railguns, but they can peek over whenever they need to. And then Masque of the Red Death's forces have been eliminated. We do have some air coming from the coalition over here, and I don't believe I have any missile ships out right now, so this base runner is probably going to go down, and it does, losing the artifact. And then this production cruiser just simply not enough to deal with all of this coalition air, so I'm going to have to pull my forces back. Although the Gaalsien do have a couple interceptors of their own, and in a 1v1 between the Gaalsien interceptors and the coalition strike fighters, the Gaalsien interceptors should win. But over here on the right side, the standoff over this artifact drop-off zone remains, with CheetahsNeverWin is sitting here with the carrier with 2 upgrades into range, and then 1 upgrade everywhere else.
Alert! Hostile strike fighter in circulation. Allied craft has been enemy-lighted vehicle marked on approach.
I am moving my forces out over here to the center, just trying to support from the flank over here. And then we do have Rewerend moving up the carrier with 2 in range, 2 in the turret network, and then 1 in range. The coalition carrier with lots of upgrades can be quite dangerous. And look at this stream of coalition forces moving as Rewerend goes into the assault cruiser. Let's try and see what's going on. They are trying to get this push from for these base runners to the artifact zone with this entirety of mixed forces here, and we'll have to see how it actually works. We can just turn off the reveal all, and we can see that the coalition can't see much past these dunes. They know that there's a lot of forces there, but they don't know how big. Likewise, the same for the Gaalsiens. And this looks to be a huge battle with some flanking from yours truly over here on the left. CheetahsNeverWin right over here with the carrier right in front of the drop-off zone. Plenty of sand skimmers playing a little bit hide and seek from the other sand skimmers, trying to get these rail guns. Or instead they're just going to move into these light attack vehicles right here.
Research completed.
Are there any... There doesn't seem to be any sort of assault ships over on this side, so the CheetahsNeverWin might want that. On the left side, I'm going to be able to do some nice damage to these light attack vehicles, but I don't have enough skimmers, so the damage will be minor. But with all these assault ships and all the sand skimmers from CheetahsNeverWin, that flank will be cleared quite up. But now CheetahsNeverWin's carrier is way too exposed right in front of this line of rail guns from Iain and Rewerend, so that carrier is going to suffer if it's not moved out. So to cover the retreat, we do have some sand skimmers moving into the action, and then I'm going to move my heavy rail guns over on the other top of this cliff. Now this time I do have missile ships, a couple of them, but that is a lot of strike fighters coming in, so I'm going to have to pull back. Meanwhile, Masque of the Red Death down to 36% from my railguns, and those strike fighters came out at just the right moment from Masque to drive my forces off, saving her carrier. But that means that CheetahsNeverWin is able to push up just a little bit. Let's see what's going on. All the action is happening on this side of the map, and we do finally have all the players harvesting off of all of their resources except for this one over here. Look at the stream of coalition forces moving to the right side of the map.
Light attack vehicle
I did see some upgrades coming out from the coalition forces, with some assault carriers, cruisers are being researched, but none of them are out just yet. And we can check from the Gaalsien side. CheetahsNeverWin has researched almost everything except for the assault ships. And only I've actually researched assault ships, so only I can get the assault cruisers or the siege cruiser fabrication out right now. I'm going to push my forces up here just a little bit, which means I'm going to draw the entirety of the coalition forces right on top of my troops, and that is not a battle that I want to take. Look at all of these skimmers. I do have mixed forces here of heavy rail guns, and I thought I had some assault ships. I guess not enough anyway. We do have a incoming missile strike from, I'm not sure who that was, but it was a great shot, completely destroyed my entire army. And then another great shot over here from CheetahsNeverWin on the coalition forces, eliminating that army as well. So both players over here are going to have to lick their wounds. And we do have a bunch of light attack vehicles coming up and cleaning up my forces as they were caught out of position here. They're going to do some decent damage from the salvagers unless I move them back. But meanwhile, big battle happening over here on the right. Carriers are facing off against each other. Masque of the Red Death wants to engage her repair systems, but these light attack vehicles are going against the assault railguns and the Gaalsien carrier, and that's not a fight that they want to take. They should be cleaned up pretty quickly. So, but these light attack vehicles over here are doing some pretty good damage to the production lines. I am bringing up some assault ships and assault railguns along with, whose are these? CheetahsNeverWin bringing in their sand skimmers to clean up this attack on the economy. That's going to give Rewerend the confidence to move up, and we do have artillery cruisers out for the coalition, and these artillery cruisers will absolutely wreck and destroy any sort of light forces that anybody has out from either side. So those cruisers are going to be very, very annoying for us Gaalsiens to deal with, and there are a lot of them. At least 4, if not 5 cruisers out on the field right now. So the Gaalsiens will have to retreat from this coalition push. But the assault cruisers are weak to railguns, so if you can keep them, your railguns alive, and dodge the artillery cruisers, I'm sorry, if the artillery cruisers, you can dodge their artillery shots, you can kill them. But it is rather hard to keep them alive, especially with all these carriers over here. Look at this battle. It is quite crazy. We do have a cruise missile coming out, and it's going to completely wreck this force of the Gaalsiens, destroying perhaps about half of it. More artillery coming out. CheetahsNeverWin is going to have to pull back their carrier. So this battle, quite crazy right now. But a Masque of the Red Death also being shot out. Missiles flying everywhere from CheetahsNeverWin. Full power to range systems, but Cheetah's going to have to fall back. Another cruise missile coming out. That's going to completely destroy all of those masked up railguns. So right now it does seem like the Gaalsien forces are on the back foot from this artillery push by the coalition, and it is quite the artillery push. We can even just turn off the HUD for a minute and just watch this rain of death coming out from the coalition artillery cruisers as I desperately try to dodge but fail the artillery barrages to destroy a couple of the artillery cruisers. I did at least blow up one of them, but at the entire cost of my army. So let's sort of check out and see what's going on. We do have 9 minutes before the game goes into sudden death. The Gaalsiens are definitely on the back foot right now, but the only thing the coalition really has is these artillery cruisers. So if the Gaalsiens and a couple, there are some assault ships in here too. Oh, we have some nice physics going on. Dancing carrier.
Depleted. We have eyes on an artifact. Stand by.
Coordinates confirmed.
Some heavy railguns coming up. That's going to force Iain to think twice about bringing his carrier up. He's going to go back. But then I expect that the artillery will happen any moment. Here comes the artillery fire. Not a very good hit, but we do have the Gaalsiens shooting some of their missiles right here into the middle of the artillery cruisers. That's going to destroy a few of them, perhaps. Yeah, 2. That was a really good missile strike from CheetahsNeverWin. Very, very good strike.
Friendly vehicle has lost possession of an artifact.
I think that also knocked off an artifact. So, right now I think I just saw that I researched the Honor Guard cruisers. And with all of these forces over here on the right-hand side, I'm going to bring my entire army over here of assault ships and railguns and then production cruisers over here around the back, engage this economy, and force this push from the coalition to either lose the economy or come back and deal with me. Unfortunately, there are all these turret posts over here that I have to take out first, and those will do some damage to my forces. So right now, still more and more artillery shots from the coalition landing on those Gaalsien cruisers, but they are going to have to fall back. We do have a cruise missile coming out somewhere. That's going to be right over here on the Gaalsien forces. Let's watch it. That's going to absolutely wreck the entire blob of probably CheetahsNeverWin's forces right there. Very good cruise missile from, I didn't even catch who that was, but they are forced right now to deal with my mobile army over here, which is getting larger and coming over here and destroying salvagers as it's marching over here on this side. So this push over here from the coalition, which was quite dangerous, is now moving over here to deal with this production, this force of mine, which will give my allies the ability to breathe a little bit, reinforce, and maybe push up and do some damage. But let's check out what's going on over here. Trying to get over on the other side of the sand dune just so I can stay alive, while maybe get some damage on this carrier. But there's just too much over here, and all my forces are going to get wiped out, but not without doing some damage to the economy of the coalition forces, and also giving my allies buying my allies some time, because right now, if we can hold to the 5 minutes, we will win just based off of having this one artifact. So my little march over there did allow Avetorian and CheetahsNeverWin to push back Masque of the Red Death, but there's just too much artillery cruisers over here, and with that many artillery cruisers, you eventually will hit all the forces, so this force is just going to be completely wiped out, but not before performing its role as a distraction and giving the Gaalsien forces some time to breathe.
Stormfront on approach vector.
And with that time to breathe, I have built some honor guard cruisers somewhere, yes, right over here, moving up to reinforce. Now that's Avetorian's honor guard cruiser. I have one somewhere too, I think.
Alert, support craft has been engaged.
But CheetahsNeverWin and Avetorian able to come up with the high ground and do some damage over here, as we have all 3 Gaalsien carriers with a bunch of their assault and artillery cruisers right here, facing off against the railguns and single carrier of CheetahsNeverWin. There's a nice artillery shot, and those railguns are done for. 4 minutes left until Gaalsiens win by the overtime rules with the 1 artifact. The CheetahsNeverWin is going to put full power into mobility and retreat, and while these artillery cruisers are continuing to just put volley after volley after volley onto the Gaalsien forces. Look at that. That is so much damage. And then we also have another cruise missile coming out. Doesn't hit much, but kills everything in this area. And still just more and more artillery fire. This is quite insane. I'm not really sure how they haven't advanced under the cover of this artillery fire just yet. Now, does Masque still have those fighters? I mean, it looks like she doesn't. But what do we have up here? An honor guard cruiser from Avetorian, 2 honor guard cruisers. Those are really big railguns, and they do splash damage when they attack. So the question is, can these forces on the hill deal damage to the assault cruisers over here? And artillery cruisers, pardon me. We do have some other great missiles from CheetahsNeverWin, but CheetahsNeverWin Carriers is in trouble. It's at 37%. It's going to have to fall out. With these missiles forcing the coalition back, and Masque of the Red Death in just as much trouble. 21% carrier damage as CheetahsNeverWin.
New heading set. Alert. Enemy
I finally built up enough forces to do some poking and make some of this artillery fire come back to the left. So just giving CheetahsNeverWin and Avetorian a little bit of a reprieve. They're going to, looks like they're going to be able to snipe 1 artillery cruiser, maybe. Yep, that's gone. The railguns are spread out, but not spread out enough. The Gaalsien carrier is going to take a lot of damage from the artillery cruiser. But the honor guard cruisers out here are doing their jobs, taking out the artillery cruisers.
New sector designated. Move out. All hands.
Rewerend's going to need to fall back. As they do have 1 minute and 27 seconds to get an artifact from this side of the map all the way into their extraction zone. So the question is, will the coalition be able to do that? Or will the Gaalsien lines hold strong?
Carrier visually authenticated.
Still more and more artillery coming out from the coalition. This is quite the insane amount of firepower coming out, just completely decimating anything that the artillery actually touches, causing the sand skimmers to dance. And we do have a missile barrage from CheetahsNeverWin. CheetahsNeverWin doing such a great job with these missile barrages, taking out a bunch of artillery cruisers and forcing. Looks like Avetorian is also launching a missile barrage too with his carrier. So those artillery cruisers are going to be forced to retreat. Good artillery onto CheetahsNeverWin rails right here, but they are going to be engaged by somebody's scanning, and somebody did just lose a carrier. That was Masque of the Red Death. No, Rewerend, and I apologize for completely missing it. There is so much going on in this game, it is hard to keep up with everything. So Avetorian doing good work with their honor guard cruisers and CheetahsNeverWin on their attacks. So there looks like going to hold. And the Gaalsiens do win on sudden death after such a crazy game between all of our players. So well played by everyone in this Gaalsien versus Coalition faction war. If you enjoyed this replay cast, hit that like button, subscribe, or leave a message in the comments. Philothanic signing out.